I died on Christmas Eve, choking on the shards of my own shattered dreams as the icy New York wind clawed at my throat. My family's betrayal a sharper blade than any knife. Waking up in that same godforsaken body, sweat-soaked and heart-pounding in my old childhood bedroom, I knew the universe had handed me a loaded gun, one more shot to pull the trigger on the people who'd buried me alive in life first. This time, Kinsley Harper wouldn't bleed out quietly in the snow. She'd make them watch as their perfect holiday empire crumbled from the inside. The clock on my nightstand blinked, 6:47 p.m. December 24th, 2018. The digital glow mocking me like a bad joke. I'd blacked out in the ambulance that night 2 years from now. No. Wait. This was now again, and the paramedics had called it exposure. But I knew better. It was eviction papers served with a side of eggnog. My mother's voice slicing through the carols like a chainsaw. You're out, Kinsley. Pack your shit and go. And I'd gone, stumbling into the blizzard, because where else does a 28-year-old go when her entire bloodline turns on her? Straight to a park bench off Central Park West. That's where. Clutching a duffel bag of regrets and a phone that wouldn't stop buzzing with their fake concern after the fact. But this was the reset button I'd begged for in my final, frostbitten breaths.
重生
They call it in those Korean dramas Mom used to binge while pretending to care about my artistic phase. Rebirth. Second chance. Whatever. All I knew was the metallic tang of revenge already pooling under my tongue, sweet as the bourbon she'd spiked my cocoa with back when I was 10 and disappointing her with finger paints instead of straight A's. I swung my legs over the edge of the bed, bare feet hitting the plush carpet of the Harper family brownstone in the Upper East Side. The house smelled the same, cinnamon and hypocrisy. Pine from the 15-foot Fraser fir Dad had dragged in last night like it could spruce up our rotting roots. Downstairs, the clink of silverware and low murmur of voices told me the pre-dinner charade was in full swing. Mom. Evelyn Harper, queen of Park Avenue philanthropy, holding court with her Botox-smooth smile. My brother, Landon, the golden boy banker, probably regaling everyone with tales of his latest Wall Street conquest. And Tessa, my baby sister, the aspiring influencer who'd sold me out for a Birkin bag and a spot in Mom's will. I paused at the full-length mirror, staring at the ghost of myself, too thin frame wrapped in a rumpled flannel nightgown, dark circles under eyes that had once sparkled with naive trust. In my first life, I dolled up for this dinner, red lipstick, that emerald dress from the thrift shop that made me feel like a vintage movie star. Not tonight. Tonight, I was raw, unfiltered Kinsley, the black sheep they'd sheared until there was nothing left but bones. The stairs creaked under my weight as I descended, each step a countdown to detonation. Laughter bubbled up from the living room, fake as the snow on the mantel. I rounded the corner, and there they were, the tableau of toxic perfection. Mom in her cashmere sweater set, pearls gleaming like nooses. Landon nursing a scotch, his tie loosened just enough to scream, casual power. Tessa scrolling her phone, diamond studs catching the firelight. Dad was absent again, off on some business trip to Tokyo, but his ghost lingered in the empty armchair, approving silently, as always. Kinsley, darling, Mom's voice lilted like poison honey, her eyes flicking over me with that practiced disdain.
We were just talking about you. Come. Sit.
Dinner's almost ready. I slid into my seat at the foot of the table, the one they always relegated me to, farthest from the power plays. The spread was obscene, roasted goose glistening under its herb crust, candied yams in a silver boat, Cranberry relish shaped like a goddamn Christmas tree. In my old life, I'd marveled at it, grateful for the crumbs of family they tossed me.
Now?
It looked like bait. So, Landon drawled, swirling his glass. How's the starving artist gig treating you? Sell any of those. What do you call them? Urban Decay scribbles? Tessa snickered without looking up. Yeah. Kins. Saw your Insta. That last piece? Looked like a toddler's tantrum on canvas. I smiled. Slow and sharp. The kind of smile that says I've seen your skeletons, and they're uglier than mine. Actually, Land, it's going great. Just closed a deal with a gallery in Chelsea. 6 figures. But hey, thanks for the concern. It's touching. Really. The room hitched. Mom's fork paused midair, her Botox mask cracking just a hair. Landon choked on his scotch,
Coughing into his napkin.
Tessa's thumbs froze on her screen. 6 figures? Mom echoed, her voice a brittle chime.
4.
Paintings? Kinsley? That's absurd. Galleries don't pay that for hobby work. Not a hobby anymore. Mom. I leaned back, folding my hands like I was the one in control. Turns out, people like authenticity. Messy truths splashed on canvas. Not the polished lies you all peddle. Landon recovered first, his banker's smirk sliding back into place. Authenticity? That's rich coming from you. Remember that incident with the trust fund? The one where you blew through Daddy's money on paint and pot. There it was, the hook they always yanked. The incident. In my first life, I'd crumbled under it, stammering apologies while they piled on. I'd been 22, fresh out of Pratt Institute with a fine arts degree and stars in my eyes. Dad's trust fund was supposed to be my launch pad, seed money for studio, supplies, a chance to build something real. But Landon had invested it, his word, for me, funneling it into some shady crypto scheme with his frat boy buddies. When it tanked,
Poof. Gone.
overnight. And who got the blame? Not the golden boy who'd gambled it away.
Me.
The unreliable daughter. The addict, they whispered, because I'd smoked a joint or two to cope with the fallout. I'd spent years clawing back, waitressing at dive bars, painting in stolen hours, while they wrote me off as the family fuck-up. But that was then. This time, I knew the truth. Landon's investment wasn't a mistake. It was a setup. Emails I dug up later, after the eviction, showed him siphoning funds to cover his own gambling debts at the track. Mom knew. Hell, she'd signed off on it, eager to clip my wings before I flew too close to her spotlight. I met his gaze now, unflinching. The trust fund. Yeah, I remember. Funny how you helped me invest it.
Land.
Straight into that Ponzi scheme with your poker pals. How much did you skim off the top again? 50 grand? To pay off that bookie in Atlantic City. The clatter of silverware hitting china was symphony. Mom's face drained to chalk white. Tessa's phone slipped from her fingers, clunking onto the tablecloth. Landon's eyes bulged, his knuckles whitening around his glass. What the hell?
Kinsley, he sputtered.
That's a lie. You were the one who... Save it. I cut in, voice steady as a surgeon's scalpel. I have the emails. Forwarded copies from the accountant you thought you'd deleted.
Timestamps.
IP addresses. The works.
Oh.
And that wire transfer to your offshore account? Sloppy. Brother dear. Mom surged to her feet, napkin fluttering to the floor like a white flag of surrender. This is ridiculous. Christmas dinner is no place for your delusions.
Kinsley.
If you're struggling, we can talk about an allowance. But these accusations, delusions, I laughed. Low and genuine, the sound echoing off the crystal. Like the one where you forged Dad's signature on the deed to my studio apartment last month? Kicked me out because I wouldn't sign over my share of the brownstone inheritance to fund Tessa's little brand deal with that knockoff fashion line? Tessa gasped, theatrical as ever. I never, Mom. Tell her. But Mom was unraveling. Her pearls clutched like a rosary. You were squandering it, partying, neglecting your responsibilities. Responsibilities. I stood now, slow, towering in the sudden hush. The tree lights twinkled mockingly behind me, casting my shadow long across the table. Like covering up Landon's insider trading? Or your affair with that board member at the gala last spring? The one that got Dad's company sued for sexual harassment? I know everything.
Mom.
Because, in the end, when you evicted me into that storm, I didn't die right away. I had time on that bench to piece it all together. Time to email my lawyer everything. The word, evicted, hung in the air like smoke from a gunshot. In my first life, she'd said it right here, over this very meal, her voice casual as passing the potatoes. Kinsley, we've decided it's best if you move out. Tonight. No warning. No mercy. I'd begged, tears freezing on my cheeks as I packed in the foyer, the door slamming behind me into the howling gale. Hypothermia set in fast, but not before the numbness let me scroll through those hidden folders on the family cloud drive. Betrayal after betrayal, layered like the gifts under that tree.
Now.
Their faces were mirrors of my old agony, shock, denial, the dawning horror of exposure. Landon shoved back his chair, face purple.
You bitch.
This is blackmail. No, I said softly, picking up my wine glass, the one they'd poured for me, laced with just enough spite to burn. This is justice. Merry Christmas. The room shifted then, the air thickening with the weight of truths too heavy to shove back under the rug. Mom sank into her seat, hands trembling as she reached for her phone, probably to call her lawyer, the fixer who'd buried worse scandals. Tessa whimpered, tears smearing her mascara into raccoon rings. Landon paced like a caged wolf, muttering threats under his breath. But I sat back down, spearing a piece of goose with deliberate calm. The first bite was divine, succulent, forbidden fruit. This was just the appetizer. The real feast was coming, and I'd savor every bite. As the snow began to fall outside the frosted windows, blanketing the city in deceptive peace, I let the silence stretch. They waited for the explosion, the screams, the dramatic storm out. Instead, I raised my glass. To family, I toasted, eyes locking on each of them in turn. May we all get what we deserve. They clinked hesitantly, the chime a death knell. Little did they know, the clock had already struck midnight on their reign. I'd risen from the dead, and hell had a new curator. The after-dinner brandy burned like liquid fire, but I sipped it slow, watching the flames dance in the fireplace like the inferno I'd stoke next. Mom had retreated to the kitchen under pretense of clearing up, her heels clicking a frantic Morse code of panic. Landon hovered by the wet bar, refilling his scotch with hands that shook just enough to slosh amber over the rim. Tessa had fled upstairs, sobbing into her feathered duvet, probably live-tweeting a sanitized version, Family drama over turkey, send wine. Holiday blues. Idiots. They thought this was the end of the skirmish.
Fools.
This was the opening salvo. I leaned against the mantel, the heat licking at my back like an old lover's whisper. In my first go-round, I'd fled after the eviction decree, tail between my legs, crashing on friends' couches until the cold claimed me. No fight, no fire, just a slow fade to white. But rebirth had rewired me. Those 2 years of death, or whatever limbo the universe shoved me into, had been a crash course in clarity. I'd watched from the ether as they divvied up my life, Mom selling my paintings at auction for charity, claiming artists' rights, Landon using my disappearance to leverage sympathy at the bank for a promotion, Tessa turning my tragedy into content gold. Her follower count spiking with posts like, "Missing my sis this Christmas, broken heart, R.I.P. Kinsley."
Now,
Armed with that omniscience, I had the playbook. Step 1. Disarm with truth. Step 2. Divide and conquer. Step 3. Watch them devour each other. Mom reemerged, composed as a porcelain doll, tray of cordials in hand. "Kinsley, let's not ruin the holiday with hysterics." She set the tray down with exaggerated care, avoiding my eyes. "Whatever you think you know, it's not the full story. Families have complexities." "Complexities," I echoed, plucking a glass of amaretto. The almond sweetness cloyed, mirroring her facade. "Like how you buried the audit report on Harper Investments. The one showing Landon's creative accounting cooked the books to the tune of $3 million. Landon whirled, glass shattering on the hardwood. "God damn it.
Mom."
"What the fuck? You said that was handled." Her head snapped toward him, eyes narrowing to slits. "Language. Landon. And I did handle it, paid off the auditor. Remember? Your mess. Your bailout." "My mess." He advanced, veins bulging in his neck like overfed ticks. "You pushed me into it. Diversify the portfolio.
Son, you said.
Take risks like your father. Now look. Enough." Mom's voice cracked like thin ice. She turned to me, pleading now, the queen dethroned. "Kinsley,
Please. If you go public with this,
it'll destroy us. The foundation, the name, everything your father built.
Dad.
The ghost in the machine. Harold Harper,
Titan of real estate.
who dropped dead of a heart attack 6 months ago, leaving a will as tangled as Christmas lights. I'd been en route from a gallery opening when the call came, too late for the bedside vigil they'd staged without me. In the reading, his lawyer had droned on about equal shares, but Mom had twisted it, claiming I'd forfeited mine by being unreliable. Unreliable. Code for not towing the line on her pet projects, chairing galas, schmoozing donors, playing the dutiful daughter while she funneled foundation money into her vanity spa retreats. But the real kicker? Dad hadn't died clean. I'd seen the tox report in that cloud folder, the one labeled confidential _H, morphine levels off the charts. Accidental overdose. The coroner ruled, but I knew better. Mom's hands, arthritic from years of gripping grudges, slipping the pills into his scotch because he was threatening divorce over her affair. The board member, Victor Lang, slimy as week-old gravy, who'd been consulting on the side. Dad found out, confronted her, and poof, sudden cardiac event. I could have screamed it then, shattered the room with the raw horror.
But no.
Controversy thrives on simmer, not boil over. Destroy us? I mused, swirling my drink. Funny.
That's what you did to me.
evicted like trash on the curb.
But hey,
At least I got a front row seat to the show. Tessa's footsteps thundered down the stairs. Her face a blotchy mess of highlighter and hurt. Kinsley, why are you doing this? We're sisters. I loved you, I love you. Loved. Past tense. I arched a brow. Past or present? Tess? Because that GoFundMe you set up after I disappeared? The one where you wrote, "Help bury my lost sibling, donations for memorial art," pulled in $10K before the cops called it off. Nice hustle. She recoiled as if slapped, collapsing onto the sofa in a puddle of silk and sobs. That was foreclosure. I was grieving the allowance cut you'd get if I contested the will. I corrected gently, almost kindly. The emails to your manager. Leak the story. Spin it tragic. Boost my brand. You monetize my grave. Kiddo. Landon laughed. Bitter and broken. Holy shit. She's got us all.
how?
You were always the space cadet. Sketching in the corner while we ran the show. Space cadet with a good memory, I shot back. And access to the family VPN. You idiots never logged out. Mom's composure fractured fully then, tears carving rivulets through her foundation. What do you want? Kinsley? Money? The brownstone? Name it, and it's yours.
Just.
Don't destroy this. I set my glass down, the clink final as a gavel. I want what was mine. The truth. For starters. And then, your resignation from the foundation.
Publicly.
Tomorrow, at the holiday board meeting. Her gasp was choral. Resign? Evelyn Harper doesn't resign. I am the foundation. Not anymore. I stepped closer, voice dropping to a conspiratorial hush. Unless you on the Times run with heiress overdose, murder or mercy, complete with Dad's talk screen and your text to Victor. He's suffering. Darling. Time to let go. Poetic. Really. The lie hung there, no text. But the implication landed like a gut punch. Her eyes widened, confirming my bluff had hit bone. Landon cursed, kicking the ottoman. Tessa wailed louder. A siren's call for pity. Upstairs, the doorbell chimed carolers, probably, oblivious to the carnage within. I crossed to the window, peering out at the bundled figures. Their voices muffled joy. In my old life, I'd joined them once. Post-dinner. Voice cracking on silent night. Tonight, the silence was ours. Heavy and holy in its ruin. Fine, Mom whispered at last, deflating like a puncture balloon. I'll resign. But this stays in the family.
Kinsley.
Promise me. I turned, silhouette framed by falling snow. Family? We're just starting to redefine that word. As they scattered, Landon to the balcony for a smoke. Tessa to her room for validation likes. Mom to her pill bottle. I poured another brandy. The night was young. The grievances deep. Tomorrow's board meeting would be the public flaying.
But tonight?
Tonight was private purgatory. And damn, it felt good to be the devil in the details. By midnight, the house was a tomb. I'd retreated to my room, laptop open on the quilted bedspread, fingers flying over keys. First email, to my lawyer, forwarding the damning files, real ones this time, scrubbed clean of metadata. Second, to the gallery owner, confirming the 6-figure deal I'd bluffed earlier. It wasn't a lie. Exactly. I negotiated it in the afterlife haze. Visions of contracts signing themselves. Third, An anonymous tip to the SEC about Landon's trades. Time-stamped just enough to trace back if he lawyered up wrong. Sleep evaded me. The ceiling fan whirring like accusatory whispers. Flashes of my death replayed, the bench's unyielding chill seeping through jeans. Fingers numb as I typed final goodbyes on a dying battery. Tell them I forgive. I'd written to no one.
Lies.
All lies. Forgiveness was for saints. I was reborn for reckoning. Dawn crept in gray and grudging, the city stirring under a fresh blanket of white. Downstairs, the coffee pot gurgled like a confession. Mom was up early, her ritual armor, yoga pants and a green juice, pretending normalcy. She glanced up as I entered, eyes red-rimmed but defiant. Slept? She asked, voice a thread. Like the dead. I poured black. No sugar, bitter suited the morning. Ready for your swan song? She stiffened, setting her glass down with a clink. Don't rub it in. This isn't just about me. Think of your sister, your brother. The scandal. Scandal? I scoffed, sliding onto a stool. You mean the one you've been dodging since Dad's accident? Or the one where you evicted your own daughter into a nor'easter? Her lips thinned. You were a liability.
Kinsley.
Always have been. The drinking. The men.
The
instability. I was protecting the family. Protecting your image. I sipped, scalding my tongue. Punishment or penance? Who knew? Admit it, the foundation was your baby. But Dad's will threatened it. Equal shares meant I'd have a vote. And I wouldn't rubber stamp your embezzlement. Embezzlement. The word detonated softly. She'd siphoned funds for years, spa trips disguised as wellness retreats for underprivileged women, Victor's yacht as a networking vessel. I'd found the ledgers in that folder, cross-referenced with bank statements. Mom's face crumpled, then hardened. You don't understand. Your father was weak. I built this empire while he golfed with cronies. And you? You threw it back in our faces with your art. Art that outsold your philanthropy shtick. I pulled out my phone, swiping to the gallery confirmation. Exhibit opens next month. Solo show. You could come, see what a liability builds from ashes. She stared, then laughed a hollow bark. Proud of yourself? Blackmailing your mother over eggnog. Not blackmail. Accountability. I stood, rinsing my mug. Cars waiting. Board meeting at 10. Don't be late. As she gathered her coat, the door to Landon's room creaked open. He emerged, disheveled in boxers and a bathrobe, eyes bloodshot. Mom, tell me you didn't agree to this shit. Watch your mouth, she snapped, but there was no heat. It's done. Get dressed. We leave in 20. He rounded on me. Fury distilled. You think you're hot shit now?
Huh.
Digging up dirt like some amateur PI? I could have crushed you years ago. Kins. One call to my guys at the firm. Go ahead. I met his glare. Unflinching. But those guys are the same ones who flagged your trades last quarter. Tips already sent.
TikTok.
Brother. He lunged, instinct. Rage, but stopped short. Fist clenched at his side. The old me would have flinched. This me? I just smiled. Merry Christmas.
Land.
Unwrap your indictment later. Tessa slunk and then, bundled in a cashmere throw, phone in hand. Guys, it's blowing up online. Some anon posted about Harper family secrets. Hashtag evicted heiress is trending. Mom paled.
What?
I shrugged. Viral truth serum. You're welcome. The limo ride downtown was a funeral procession. Silent. Suffocating. The cityscape blurring past like Judgment Day. Mom clutched her briefcase like a shield. Landon scrolled furiously on his phone, probably deleting alibis. Tessa live-snapped the skyline with captions like, "Heading into the storm, dashing away, family first." Hypocrite. We pulled up to the Harper Foundation's glass tower on Fifth Avenue. All chrome and charity facades. Paparazzi swarmed the curb. My anonymous tip had worked overtime. Flashes popped as we exited. Mom's arm linked stiffly in mine for the cameras. "Smile," I murmured. "It's your last red carpet." Inside the boardroom, the air hummed with whispers. 10 gray-suited fossils. Plus Victor Lang, his comb-over slick as his conscience. He rose as we entered. All smarm. "Evelyn. Darling, rough night." She ignored him,
taking her seat at the head.
I claimed Dad's old spot, uninvited but unchallenged. The agenda droned. Budgets. Grants. The usual fluff. Then Mom cleared her throat, voice steady as rebar. "Ladies and gentlemen, I've called this special session to announce my resignation as chair. Effective immediately." Gasps rippled. Victor's jaw unhinged. "Evelyn." "What?" "Personal reasons," she cut in, eyes flicking to me. "But before I go, a few truths. The Foundation's finances. They've been mismanaged. Embezzlement, to be precise. I've taken responsibility, and corrective measures are in place." Murmurs erupted. I interjected smoothly. "Audits pending." "Of course. And as Harold Harper's daughter, I'll be stepping in as interim chair." "With full transparency," Victor sputtered. "You?"
"The
artist. The one with the receipts," I replied, sliding folders across the table, printed copies. Irrefutable. Bank transfers. Falsified invoices. The works. The room devolved, calls for lawyers. Demands for details. Victor excusing himself to vomit. Mom signed the resignation with a flourish. Her hand steady now.
Almost relieved.
As we filed out, she paused by the elevator. Voice low. "You win,
Kinsley."
but at what cost?" I pressed the button. Doors sliding open like jaws. The cost of silence. Yours was too high. Back home, the brownstone loomed empty. Landon had stormed off to his club. Tessa to a detox retreat in the Hamptons. Mom retired to her suite. Door locked. I wandered the halls. Ghosts in every corner. Dad's study with its leather-bound ledgers. My old nursery turned guest room. Canvases stacked like unspoken dreams. That night, as sirens wailed distant carols, I unpacked my duffel, not the one from death, but a new one, filled with brushes and pigments. The eviction had been the spark, this rebirth, the blaze. But embers lingered. One loose thread. Why me? Why the second chance? A knock shattered the quiet. I opened the door to find Victor, disheveled, reeking of desperation. "Kinsley, listen, we can make a deal. Your mother." She didn't mean. I blocked the threshold, cold air nipping at my heels. Mean to poison Dad? Frame me? Evict her own blood? His eyes darted. It was mercy. He was in pain. The cancer, undiagnosed, but coming.
And you?
You were collateral. Too nosy. Cancer. The twist-eyed half-suspected. Dad's heart attack, a cover for something slower. crueler. Mom's pills not murder, but euthanasia, twisted love, or cowardice. Collateral, I repeated, slamming the door. But the seed planted, was revenge blind if built on half-truths? Sleep came fitful. Dreams of snow and scalpels. Morning brought headlines. Harper Empire crumbles. Chair resigns amid scandal. My phone buzzed. Gallery congrats. Lawyers green light on the will contest. But as I dressed for the day, a new email pinged from Dad's old account.
Dormant until now.
Kinsley, if you're reading this, I'm gone. The will's a lie. Fight for your share. And forgive her. She did it for you.
Love. Ash.
The room tilted. For me, the eviction. The poison. Mercy killings to spare me the fallout? Or one last manipulation. I deleted it. But the doubt festered. Revenge tasted of ash now. The calm reply a prelude to chaos. The fallout snowballed faster than the blizzard that killed me, burying the Harpers under avalanches of subpoenas and soundbites. By New Year's, the foundation was mine. Interim chair turned permanent after the board's emergency vote, their relief palpable as smelling salts. I slashed the bloat. No more yacht networking, just real grants for artists like me. Kids clawing out of foster system hellholes with nothing but charcoal and fury. Mom slunk to a sabbatical in Palm Beach. Her socials gone silent. Victor's name redacted from every contract.
Landon fait ce scrutiny.
His corner office swapped for a plea deal and community service. Ironic. Flipping burgers for the underprivileged he'd fleeced. Tessa? She pivoted to advocacy content, all redemption arcs and sponsored therapy sessions. But her likes tanked when the truth vlogs dropped.
Me?
I thrived in the wreckage. The gallery show, Ashes and Ambition, sold out opening night. Critics raving about raw catharsis in post-Harper strokes. 6 figures became 7. My brownstone studio, a hive of paint-splattered chaos. But victory chafed like ill-fitted armor. That email from Dad gnawed. A worm in the apple of my vengeance. She did it for you. Bullshit or bomb. I needed answers. And only one source remained. Palm Beach in January was a fever dream of pastel villas and retirees in golf carts. The air thick with hibiscus and hush scandals. I flew down unannounced. Rental Beamer hugging the coastal highway like a secret. Mom's condo, waterfront. Naturally loomed glass-walled and gleaming. Infinity pool mocking the finite lives we'd led. The doorman buzzed me up without question. Word travels fast in exile. She answered in a silk kaftan. Hair unbound for once. Looking smaller. Human. Kinsley. No, darling. Just the name. Heavy as lead. Mom. I brushed past, dropping my bag in the foyer. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the Atlantic, waves crashing like unresolved arguments. We need to talk. Her laugh was brittle china. Talk? You mean interrogate? The Great Inquisitor returns. I ignored the barb, heading to the lanai where White Wicker waited. A pitcher of mimosets sweated on the table, her coping mechanism. Bubbly denial. Dad's email. The one postmarked before he died. Forgive her. She did it for you. What the hell does that mean? She poured. Hand steady. But her eyes betrayed the tremor. Sit.
Drink.
Then maybe I'll tell you. We clinked glasses. The orange fizz bitter on my tongue. She settled across from me, gazing seaward. Your father. He knew about the cancer for months. Stage 4.
Pancreatic.
Inoperable. He hid it from everyone. Even his doctors at first wanted to go out swinging, close deals, leave a legacy. I gripped the armrest, nails digging wicker. And the morphine? Mercy. Her voice cracked. First fracture. He begged me.
Kinsley.
Nights of agony. Sweating through sheets. Whispering about the pain. End it.
Eve.
For the kids, don't let them see me rot. I couldn't. Not at first.
But then.
The will. He rewrote it in secret. Right before. Equal shares. Yes, but with a codicil. The foundation dissolved if mismanagement was proven. All assets to you.
Outright.
No trusts. No strings. He said you were the heart of it, the artist, the fighter. Kinsley's the one who'll make it real, he told me. The world tilted again. Dissolved? To me, I'd been the contingency, the wild card savior. But you fought it. I leaned forward, voice low. Falsified docs. Evicted me to force a contest. To protect you. She surged up, mimosa sloshing. He was delusional at the end, paranoid. Thought Landon and I were plotting against him. Victor's affair tipped him over. The new will? It would have gutted everything. The foundation bankrupt. Charities shuttered. Your siblings penniless. I panicked. Evicted you to trigger the old will's clause. Unreliable heir forfeits. Bought time to contest the codicil quietly. But then the storm.
God.
Kinsley. When they found you. Found me. I stood. Matching her fury. You mean after your concerned call to the cops 3 days later? Painted me as the runaway addict. I froze because you threw me to the wolves. Tears tracked her cheeks. Unpowdered.
Real.
I searched. Every night. Driving those streets. Screaming your name into the wind. But the guilt. It ate me. Victor pushed the cover up. Said it was cleaner for the overdose. I let him. For the family. For you to inherit clean, without the cancer shadow. Lies layered on half-truths. A Harper specialty. Bullshit. You did it for control. The eviction was spite, me sniffing too close to your schemes. Partly. She deflated. Sinking back. Yes. I resented you. Always the wild one. Exposing cracks. But the codicil? It was real. Check the safety deposit box, Key West branch. Under HH. Trusts. You'll see. I snatched my keys. Storming out before the sobs could hook me. The drive to Key West was a blur of turquoise bays and tourist traps. My mind a maelstrom. If true, my revenge was a house of cards, built on Mom's mercy kill, Dad's dying gambit. Eviction not malice, but misguided shield. But the files, the ledgers, they screamed greed, not grace. The bank vault smelled of must and money, the box heavy as secrets. Inside, Dad scrawled codicil, witnessed by his old lawyer. To Kinsley, the foundation, unencumbered. She'll burn it down if needed. Rebuild better. Forgive your mother. She carries too much already. A USB drive followed. Voice memos. Dad's gravelly timbre. Kiddo. If I go quiet.
Fight.
But know I love her. She ends my pain so you don't have to watch. I drove back in silence. Waves mocking my turmoil. Mom waited on the lanai. Aged a decade in hours. I tossed the papers at her feet. It's real. She nodded, weeping openly now. I'm sorry, baby.
For all of it.
The word baby pierced. A relic from bedtime stories long lost. I wanted to hate her, needed to,
For the second chance to mean something.
but doubt was a thief, stealing certainty. Forgive, I whispered, echoing Dad. Try. She reached.
Tentative.
I didn't pull away. Back in New York, spring thawed the city like old grudges. The foundation bloomed under my hand, grants doubled, scandals spun to teachable moments. Landon entered rehab, grudging thanks over prison calls. Tessa co-hosted my next exhibit, her authenticity post finally genuine. Mom visited monthly. Tentative bridges over mimosa chasms, talks of cancer charities now. Her resignation a phoenix for real reform. But the twist lingered, a shadow in my strokes. One night, alone in the studio, brush dripping cerulean, I painted the eviction, not blizzard fury, but a woman at a table. Calm reply a beacon. In the corner, faint, two figures, mother and daughter, hands linked against the storm. Rebirth wasn't just revenge. It was rewrite. And as the canvas dried, I wondered, had I shifted the room, or had it always been mine to claim?
No.
The real twist hit on a muggy July eve. Auction hammer falling on my magnum opus, Evicted Echoes, for 8 figures. The buyer? Anonymous. But the note slipped in. Proud of you.
Kiddo.
Use it well.
Ashush.
Dad's ghost. Or Mom's final ploy. I burned the note, but kept the check. Some secrets stay buried. Others. We dance on their graves. Forgiveness? Maybe. But the calm reply? That stayed mine, sharp. Unyielding. The hook that reeled them all in. Summer faded into a crisp fall. The city exhaling, leaves like spent breaths. And I found myself at a crossroads that felt less like choice and more like cosmic callback. The Foundation's annual gala loomed, my first as chair. A glittering beast in the Met's Temple of Dunder, where Egyptian sands met Manhattan schmooze. Invites had gone out with surgical precision, allies amplified, vipers on probation. Mom was coming, her RSVP a fragile olive branch. Landon, out on good behavior, promised to make nice. Tessa, she designed the decor. Palm motifs in gold leaf. A nod to our Palm Beach détente. Family redux. Or farce reloaded. Prep consumed me. Speeches polished to a razor's edge. Auction lots curated, my latest series. Reprieves, abstracts of storm and serenity. A critic's whispered, redemption arc, but I knew better. It was resurrection, paint as pulse. The night arrived sweltering, despite the chill in the air. The temple's faux Nile lapping at marble like unspoken sins. I arrived solo, emerald gown whispering against skin, same hue as that thrift dress from my first life. Reclaimed. Paparazzi flashes blinded. Questions volleying. Kinsley? Any comment on the family scandals? Revenge or reconciliation? I smiled. Mona Lisa cool. Both. Next, inside. The crowd swirled, donors in tuxes, artists in rebellion chic. Victor Lang notably absent, disbarred. Last I'd heard. For ethical lapses. Mom spotted me first, gliding over in vintage Chanel. Arm looped with a silver-haired widower, her escort, whispers said. But her eyes said survivor. You look stunning, she murmured. Air-kissing cheeks. No warmth. But no ice either. You clean up well for a husband. Tease. not toxin. Progress. Landon lumbered up next. Suit rumpled. Tie askew. Rehab glow fading fast.
Sis.
Place looks legit. He handed a flute of champagne. Peace offering fizzing. I clinked. Don't spill. SEC's watching. He winced, but chuckled, rusty. Real.
Fair. Hey.
About the trust fund. I wired restitution. Check your account. I would. Later. Water under the bridge. Or snow. In my case. Tessa enveloped me in vanilla-scented hugs. Her dress a cascade of silk. Killed it.
Kins.
The palms? My idea. Nod to our beach therapy. I extricated gently. Therapy's ongoing. But yes, stunning. The evening unfolded like a well-rehearsed play. Toasts to resilience. Bids climbing to 6 figures. My speech landing punches wrapped in velvet. From eviction to elevation. I quipped. We learned that family isn't blood. It's the bonds we rebuild. Brick by brutal brick. Applause thundered. Mom's eyes glistening from the wings. Then. The auction climax. Reprieves no. 3. My eviction canvas. Projected massive on silk screens. Bids flew. 200. 350. $500,000. The room hushed as I took the mic. This piece? It's the calm in the storm. The reply that reframed everything. Sold to the highest bidder, but with a caveat. Anonymous stays anonymous. Proceeds to cancer research. Dad's fight. Our future. Hammer fell at 780. Murmurs rippled. Generous. They said. Fitting. I thought. After party bled into dawn. Champagne morphing to coffee in shadowed corners. Mom cornered me by the obelisk. Her escort dozing nearby. The caveat. That was for him.
Yeah.
I sipped black. Bitter anchor. But also for us. The codicils filed. Foundation safe. My shares locked. No dissolution. Her relief was a sigh. He'd be proud. Would he? I set the cup down. Granite cold. Or pissed I dragged his mercy through the mud? She touched my arm, first voluntary contact since rebirth.
Proud.
And forgiving. Like he asked, the gala's end found us on the steps. City lights a constellation of conquests. Landon hailed cabs. Tessa snapped selfies. But Mom lingered. Come to Palm Beach.
For real this time.
No agendas. I hesitated. Wind hugging my hair like insistent fingers. Maybe. After the next show. She nodded. Boarding her car, dismissal deferred. As taillights faded, my phone buzzed. Bank alert. Landon's wire. Full restitution. Plus interest. And an email from the auction house. Bidder unmasked. Per final wishes. Sender. HH. Foundation Legacy Fund. Use it to build.
Kiddo.
No strings. Dad, via proxy.
Proxy.
Mom, the widower? Or some spectral hack? I laughed into the night. The sound free. Unburdened. Twist upon twist. But the plot was mine now. Winter circled back. Another Christmas Eve. The brownstone aglow without ghosts. I hosted small, intentional, Landon with his sponsor. Tessa with her journal, no phone. Mom arriving last. Arms laden with heirlooms. Dad's old sketchpad. My first masterpiece from age 5 taped inside. Dinner was simple. Roast chicken. No goose grandeur. We ate in the kitchen, elbows bumping, laughter tentative but thawing. No evictions. No exposés, just stories, the kind that stitch wounds. As midnight tolled, snow dusting the sill, Mom raised her glass. To replies that shift rooms. To rebirths, I countered.
Clinking.
Landon grinned. To not fucking up again. Tessa rolled eyes. Profound.
Bro.
We drank, the warmth spreading like ink on wet paper. Later, alone by the tree, smaller this year, but brighter, I unwrapped one last gift, a letter, slipped under tinsel. Mom's script, forgive me. I evicted the shell, hoping to save the soul.
You did the rest. Love. Eve.
I burned it in the sink, ashes swirling down the drain. Not forgiveness, acceptance. The calm reply had shifted everything, not just the room, but the house, the empire, the heart. Outside, the city sang carols, oblivious. Inside, Kinsley Harper lived, not as victim, villain, or vindicator. Just alive.
And that?
That was the ultimate revenge. Fade to white, no death this time. Just dawn. Reborn. Reframed. Relentless.